r/AskReddit, what's the most bizarre or interesting fact you know that sounds fake, but is actually true? Well the golden age of piracy ended in the 1730s and audio recording wasn't invented until 1857. The city of Paris took the rats to court in the Middle Ages for causing the plague, and thanks to a brilliant public defense attorney, the rats won the case. Rats facilitated the plague, fleas were the cause. The judge was being ratatouilled. You are 10 times more likely to get bit by a New Yorker than a shark. I believe it. It's a lot easier for a New Yorker to make it to central Canada than a shark. I don't know about that. I can picture a New Yorker biting a shark, especially if it's been cooked. That one sounds about right. The star Betelgeuse formed well after the dinosaurs went extinct. It's less than 10 million years old and is expected to go supernova within the next 100,000 years. One day on Venus is longer than 1 year on Venus. I mean, didn't that movie come out in '88? So surely all the Betelgeuse stars were formed well after the dinosaurs went extinct. Ponderosa pine bark smells like ice cream. Mostly vanilla, sometimes strawberry, and seldom chocolate. We used to go around the woods back home, smelling trees, and yelling what flavors we found. Well, 15% of the world's synthetic vanilla flavoring, vanillin, is made from pine bark. When the Great Pyramids of Egypt were being built, there were still woolly mammoths walking around. Cleopatra lived closer to the modern era than the creation of the pyramids. Pyramids finished in 2490 BCE, Cleopatra alive 69 to 30 BCE, she was also comically inbred. The highest peak of Mount Everest was first measured at exactly 29,000 feet but was instead reported as 29,002 feet to avoid the impression of an estimate. Removed. There have been more prime ministers of Israel born in Belarus than there have been prime ministers of Belarus. This is actually a new and weirdly hilarious one to me. WTF are the odds? How dare you insult God Emperor Luca like that? It's also the only one of 2 planets in the solar system that spins clockwise, all the others spin counterclockwise. It's been theorized it had some sort of collision with another planetary body, which is why it spins funny. Mary Shelley, author of Frankenstein, was the daughter of feminist writer Mary Wollstonecraft, who died in childbirth with Shelley. Years later, Shelley lost her virginity on top of her mother's grave. When Mary was starting to see poet Percy Bysshe Shelley, who was married, and Mary only 16, she declared her love for him at her mother's grave and they consecrated the relationship there. From then on, the day was referred to as Percy's birthday. Narcolepsy is often mistaken for insomnia or depression. Narcoleptic, can confirm. How so? Genuinely asking. John Tyler, the 10th President of the United States, was born in 1790. He has a living grandson. 3 generations cover almost the entirety of US history. I once had a housemate who was born in the 1700s, and I am not quite 50 years old yet. It's true. When I was a baby, my great-grandfather briefly lived with us. I'm my family's genealogist. I learned from a census record in England that my great-grandfather had lived in the same house as his great-grandfather who was born in 1797. Harrison Tyler, 95, is the grandson of President John Tyler born in 1790. On March 3, 1983, former NFL quarterback Terry Bradshaw checked into a hospital, and used an alias to disguise himself. The fake name he used was Tom Brady. In 2005, Michael Vick was sued by a woman who claimed he knowingly gave her an STD. Per the lawsuit, he visited an STD clinic under the name Ron Mexico. For a long time you could not buy a custom NFL jersey with the name Mexico. There was a time in 18th century England that playing the bagpipes was punishable by death. Explain yourself. Understandable, honestly. When the Aztec Empire was founded, Oxford University in England was already 300 years old. This one always reminds me that Harvard was established before calculus was invented, which is a mindfuck. At the rate humans shed skin, it basically means we are the ship of Theseus. Not just skin, all of your body parts replace themselves. For instance, every 4.5 years, you'll finish replacing all of your heart cells entirely. If you line up all of the planets in our solar system end to end, they would be able to fit in the space between the Earth and the Moon with enough space left over to include Pluto. If you take the intestines of a full-grown adult and stretch them out end to end on a football field, nobody will ever want to be your friend again. There is a disease called Kuru that was spread by cannibals eating the brains of those who died of Kuru. Kuru is a prion disease like mad cow, BSE, scrappy, CJD, CWD. It is 100% fatal, but quite rare. Scrappy and CWD haven't been found to infect humans, but not worth finding out if it could. Fun fact: it is extremely difficult to denature prions to the point of no longer being infectious. It takes prolonged exposure to heat of 900 F/482 C, autoclaving with NaOH, or soaking in 40% bleach solution. Sharks are older than trees, by about 50 to 100 million years. Some blind people can see. The eyes work, but the brain can't interpret the info. The bacteria which breaks down dead trees didn't evolve until 60 million years after trees, creating a period where dead trees piled up on top of each, called the Carboniferous period, which where most of the fossil fuels we used to were formed. Sharks are old. They're older than the trees, younger than the mountains, blowing like a breeze. The brain named itself. The brain is the most complex and wonderful organ of the body, according to the brain. Nintendo has been in operation since 1899. It's actually 1889. The same year Hitler was born. Coincidence? Yes. I knew Mario was an old man, but damn. Plumbing was different back then, though. They originally produced Hanafuda playing cards. They still do. I have a deck. Your skin doesn't have a specific sense organ to let you know if it's wet or not. Yep, just temp. Air temp alcohol with a cotton swab and water with a cotton swab on the wrist. The alcohol feels wetter because it is cooler due to faster evaporation. My mother had a friend that woke up one day and was blind. Apparently she had developed a tumor that pressed against an optic nerve or something that halted all information between her eyes and brain. She's got some eyesight back through operations though. Jack Black's mother worked for NASA and created the technology that saved the Apollo 13 astronauts. She gave birth while finishing the technology that would eventually save Apollo 13. Link. She also has many more accolades. Jack Black's brother, Neil Siegel, Link, is also an incredibly accomplished engineer like their mother, creating many systems that we take for granted today. And also an incredibly talented musician. Jack Black isn't even the second most interesting person in his family, and I don't say that to diminish his talent. Stonehenge and the Great Pyramids were built at roughly the same time. And the pyramids look like shit compared to what they used to look like. Originally it was all smooth sides and white limestone. We only have the blocky core left now. The Portuguese man of war is made up of 3 distinct animals. Apples at the grocery store can be up to a year old. And yet the motherfuckers get soft and squishy on my counter in 4 days. The audacity. Truck driver that used to haul apples here. Year-old apples coming out of cold storage are often called birthday apples. Freshly picked apples weigh more, as they haven't lost much water yet. You can haul an extra pallet or 2 of birthday apples when loading to max weight. I miss being able to buy the blemished apples right from the grower. I could get a peck of Honeycrisp for $10. Ancient sailors were always talking about sea monsters, usually ones with tentacles. The most likely explanation for these tentacled sea monsters is whale dicks. Some species of whales have males gather around a female and take turns with her. The waiting males often drift around upside down just under the surface. The only part of them sticking out of the water is a penis that's several meters long and looks like a pink tentacle. I love this answer so much. The Jonestown mass suicide victims didn't drink the Kool-Aid, as the expression goes, it was Flavor Aid, Link. There are, unfortunately, no recorded cases of pirates forcing people to walk the plank. The PR firm representing Flavor Aid really earned their pay on that one. Women weren't allowed to establish credit in their own name until 1974. I live in the southeastern US, and in 1972 my grandmother, a divorced mother of 2, had to ask her father to co-sign so she could get a credit card because a man had to be on the account. Birds are considered feathered, avian, dinosaurs. Electrons don't exactly exist as a particle. Rather, there are fields of probability where the existence of an electron is higher. Mike the headless chicken survived for 18 months with its head cut off. The owners took it on tour and fed it by dropping food and water directly into its esophagus. That's fucked up. I know with the head dead no animal was suffering, but it's still fucked up. Wombat poop is cube-shaped. Crocodiles have hardly evolved in the past 60 million years because you can't improve on perfection. Chickens are the closest relatives to dinosaurs. All the animals that developed intelligence are on the same side of the evolution tree. Except octopi, and we don't know why. And GT, all the animals that developed intelligence are on the same side of the evolution tree. Except octopi, and we don't know why. But they do. You can thank Hollywood for this. The original practice is keel hauling, which is much worse. However, it doesn't very good on film. Dead men tell no tales. Hello everyone. Thanks for sticking to the end of this video. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to humbly ask you to subscribe to the channel. According to my statistics, 100% of my viewers in the past 28 days are not subscribed. I have always wanted this channel to reach 1000 subscribers, and if you want to support and be a part of that, subscribe. It's free and it's an awesome way to support the channel. Thanks again. Reddit glitch out.